first time, quite dramatic footage showing illegal migrants and foreign criminals being marched onto planes as Labour boasts about voting out nearly 19,000 since July, since they got into power. Ministers have released this footage for the first time in a bid to stop Nigel Farage's reform from stealing votes. Reform topped a national poll for the first time last week. The Home Secretary, Vet Cooper, made the case for publishing this footage as a sort of key to restoring public trust and confidence in the immigration system. The figures they showed are quite starking, and they have ramped up deportations. It shows that 750 offenders were kicked out just in the last month, including 360 convicted criminals. This is the highest number since 2018. And they also confirmed 4 of Britain's biggest ever deportation flights are already taking off, and they carried more than 850 people. This comes as Labour is under growing pressure to stop the boats. There have been more than 1,000 migrants crossing the channel this year alone. So as I said, there are Red Wall MPs that fear that Farage is gaining ground, and voters will want to see tougher action and to get Britain's borders back under control.
Is your message that under this government there will be a hostile environment for people here illegally?
Well, the rules need to be respected and enforced. The asylum and immigration systems are important, but for too long, those rules just simply haven't been properly enforced. That's why we're boosting both returns and enforcement with 19,000 people who don't have any right to be in the UK returned since the general election, and also a big increase in the illegal working raids and arrests to make sure we're also going after the employers who are exploiting migrant workers.
That footage puts out a tough message. Is it driven by the fact that Reform are doing very well in the polls, and they did well in quite a lot of Labour seats at the last election? Is that a concern?
Well, the Labour manifesto made clear we would increase returns and enforcement, including hundreds of additional staff working on returns and enforcement, because the rules really need to be respected and enforced for the asylum and immigration system to work. That's why since the election, we have been increasing returns, so 19,000 people who have no right to be in the UK have now been returned, and also increasing the illegal working raids and going after the employers who are exploiting migrant workers. This is about making sure that there's proper fairness, proper enforcement in the system, and proper respect for the rules as well.
Where it's difficult to return people is for those who come on small boats, and the removals of those who've come in that way are still relatively low. Why is it so difficult to remove people who've come on small boats? And figures out today suggested it was only 3% who've been removed.
Well, we need to prevent these dangerous boat crossings in the first place. That's why we are today in Parliament debating new counter-terror style powers to go after the criminal gangs. And we also need to clear the ridiculous backlog that we inherited from the Conservatives, so that also small boat arrivals who have no right to be in the UK can also be returned as part of the increase in returns and enforcement that this Labour government has been setting out. We have to make sure rules are respected and enforced.
Some of your Labour colleagues would like to see safe routes set up to prevent to help people who come from legitimate places. Is that something that this government's going to pursue? You used to talk about it in opposition.
The UK has always done its bit alongside other countries to help those fleeing persecution, but we have to tackle the criminal gangs who are organising dangerous boats, who are putting lives at risk and who are undermining border security. Governments and not gangs should be deciding who enters the country. For far too long that has not been the case. Those gangs have been allowed to take hold, and that is why the new bill we're debating in Parliament today will bring a new counter-terror style powers to go after those criminal gangs. I think it's really troubling that other political parties have said they will not support those new counter-terror style powers. I hope they will tonight.
Finally, I must ask you, one of your ministerial colleagues has been fired over some private WhatsApp messages. Another MP is being looked at. What was your reaction to those messages?
Well, those comments were totally unacceptable, and it's right that action is being taken.
Thank you.